Hello.
Hello.
This is Kermit the Land Rover. This is the lovely Katie Ventures. It's very early in the morning. We are loaded up with camping gear and it's time for an adventure. Where should we go, Katie?
The north.
The north. Let's do this. So we set off from deepest Somerset. We're currently driving around Bristol. We are heading north, and today's destination at one point was as far north as you could go whilst remaining inside the civilised world. It's going to take us about 7 hours to get there with some pretty tedious motorway driving. That's it there, Katie. Here we are at today's destination. An impressive sight today in its ruined state, but imagine what this would have been like nearly 2,000 years ago when freshly completed. It would have been quite something. This of course is Hadrian's Wall. Not built by Hadrian, but he did pay for it. So when the Romans failed to conquer the entire island of Britannia, they decided just to cut their losses, build a wall and keep the barbarians back. It wasn't called Scotland at the time. The Scots weren't even a thing. They were a tribe that came from Ireland much later on. The people that lived there were called Picts, but that wasn't their name either. That was what the Romans called them. Picts for pictures, because they were literally covered in pictures. Presumably tattoos. Anyway, they were considered barbarians and they had to be kept back. So here, where we're standing, was the edge, not just of Britannia, of Roman Britannia, but of the entire empire. This was the edge of civilization. The people south of this wall considered themselves to be civilized. Over there were the barbarians. So we set out early this morning from the south of England and we headed north, and this is almost as far north as we can go in England. But of course there's plenty more. The locals are much more friendly now than they were 2,000 years ago. We're going to stay here tonight, and tomorrow we're going to head further north, to the far north, see how far we can get. For now though, the weather's coming in, so we need to find somewhere to camp and have some dinner. Maybe a beer.
Meatballs.
Meatballs.
Oh, we did bring the little bread rolls.
Oh. Say a big thank you to Kevin and Mandy for the rolls. Well, this is us for the night. We've found a little camping spot inside some woods. As you can see, it's pretty dark already. What a long day. And tomorrow it's going to be an even longer one as we head further north. I'll see you then. Good night.
Good night.
Welcome to day 2. So we're back on the M6 heading north again. We found a nice little spot to wild camp last night, not far from the wall. It rained a lot. Tent held up. We did have a minor ingress of water, but that's why Katie's suddenly completely covered in sleeping bags, which were drying off. They're synthetic bags, so they'll dry pretty quick. Anyway, heading north, we're about to cross the border into Scotland, and then we're going to carry on, see how far north we can get. So yesterday we did over 350 miles. It was quite a long day. Today is going to be even longer. We better crack on. And so ever more north we drove. The roads in Scotland are generally very good, but there's not many of them, which means any kind of road closure can lead to some epic detours. And this happened to us twice as we went up the A9. The first closure led to a 50-mile detour, and all was going well until we were funneled down this lane along with everybody else on the detour and the traffic coming the other way. Being a single track road with passing places is fine until you overwhelm it with things like big vans, and this particular van just got stuck, and therefore so did everybody else. It took a long time to sort out.
On a mission.
Being in a four-wheel drive, I could just pull over to the verge pretty much anywhere, but that's of limited benefit when I'm the only person that can. The last. Oh, it's a massive bridge. We're not going over that. Are we going over there?
Type 2 fun. Another road closure. Well, same road actually, the A9. We think it's a collision. Closed the road, but I don't know if we're delayed or well, we're just stuck here. We're trying an alternative route. When we ran into the second point that the road was closed, there was still room enough to turn around, and so we did that pretty sharpish. We went back on ourselves and then found a little side road down by the coast, and we zipped along that. So that didn't hold us up too much, but the knock-on effect of the two road closures left us a couple of hours behind where we wanted to be.
Dunnet Head, at last. We finally made it here to our destination, so success on that front. But it's late, it's cold, we're very hungry. We need to pitch the tent, have some food and go to sleep. And we'll reconvene in the morning and tell you all about the next bit of plan. As I was saying, we're at Dunnet Head, the most northerly point of mainland Britain. Arriving so late we had very little choice of where to camp. We did the best we could. We chose a spot just here where we were sheltered by two walls. Unfortunately for us, the wind tracked around and it blew from at least 3 different directions overnight. Funnily enough, this is a storm that originated in the southwest where we came from, followed us all the way up, rained on us last night, and this is the remnants of it today. Hopefully it's all going to blow away and it'll be lovely from now on. Dunnet Head consists of a lighthouse, a car park and a few abandoned military buildings. Had we arrived in daylight, as intended, and had time to explore the area a little bit, we'd have probably stayed in one of these because, despite being completely derelict, a building offers much more wind resistance than a canvas tent. Also of note on top of Dunnet Head is the entranceway to a ROC bunker, Royal Observer Corps. Locked, unfortunately. Now I have been inside one of these and it's really no more than an underground porter cabin. At one time there were about 1,500 of these all across the country, set up with the singular purpose of monitoring the devastation from a nuclear first strike. Thankfully, never needed, and the last of these was decommissioned way back in 1991. So we're now at the most northerly point of mainland Britain, but of course we're not at the most northerly point of the UK because there's more of it, there's more of the UK. There's some of it over there. Those are the Isles of Orkney, and that's where we're going today. So unlike yesterday when we had to drive nearly 400 miles, today we've got to go about 3 over to a little town over there. We're going to get a ferry and we'll end up not on that island, but the next one along, I think. Right, let's get on with it. Despite the lack of sleep, we're both in good spirits, and it's time to continue the adventure. Find breakfast. We've made it to Scrabster. It's stark contrast to yesterday's breakneck pace all day long. We're here 3 hours early. I think the ferry leaves from over there. But of course there's no point going over there.
Just can't be over there.
Oh right, maybe there is a point. Perhaps we will, because we haven't had any breakfast because there was no danger of lighting the stove up on Dunnet, was there? Rougher seas than I thought it'd be. Well, here we are in Orkney after a very pleasant ferry crossing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we've driven not a long distance because you can't. And we've come to a very interesting place that I read about many years ago. I never thought I'd actually visit in person. Skara Brae is the remains of a 5,000-year-old village. Two things make it a remarkable place. The first is simply its state of preservation. It shows the signs of being left in a hurry, perhaps during a fierce storm which covered the village in sand and left it buried and undisturbed for millennia, until another storm in the mid-1800s blew the sand away again and uncovered the village once more. It's a unique window back in time, showing lifestyle from a period thousands of years before history began. A period further back in time from the Roman occupation of Britain than the Romans are from us today. In other words, when the Roman soldiers were busily constructing that wall down south, this place had already been buried for 3,000 years. The second remarkable thing is that it's obvious just how well these people lived. Each little house is beautifully appointed with beds, a stone dresser, fireplace, and even evidence of indoor plumbing. Something, in fact, I, as a modern man, had to do without for many years. Back then, the climate in this area was milder than it is now, and the people here would have been able to grow crops and make use of woodland, of which there's none left on the islands these days. The seas would have teemed with fish and other seafood. The lands would have abounded with game. In some ways, they had it much better than many of us living today. It's obvious from the lack of defensive structures and from the fact that they could spend so much time on making their homes so cosy that these people have had no fear of invasion or conflict. They were just left alone to enjoy their lives. It's not an easy life to live off the land, but I do envy them somewhat. Next to the actual village site is a replica house and an excellent little museum. We initially bought it at £16 each to wander around this place, but came away feeling that it was money well spent. After a good look around, we headed off to find a nice spot to have some tea and biscuits, which turned out to be the car park of another Neolithic site. There's plenty of them on Orkney, and they're easy to get to because the place is tiny. I like that. I could be Orkney's best blacksmith, I reckon.
Itadakimasu.
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 Close enough.
Itadakimasu.
You're on the Obi-King. It works.
No. Well, we've had a splendid day on Orkney, but of course Orkney's not as far north as you can go in the UK. So instead of being cosy and wrapped up in bed, we are in a queue of traffic waiting to get on another ferry to go even further north. arrived in Lerwick. That's right, isn't it? Lerwick, the capital of Shetland. And it's an awful lot busier than I expected it to be. They got modern cars and everything. Very early in the morning, so we're going to just head out of town, find a spot for coffee and breakfast, and make a plan for the day.
This feels a bit like Iceland. Do this one? Picnic area.
Well, here we are on the main island of Shetland, and I've got to say it's absolutely lovely. Partly just it's just such a treat after just the rain and the wind of the last few days. It's just sunny and still. That's part of the appeal of the place, but also the landscape is rather epic. Our goal today is to carry on heading north, and after 2 more ferry trips, but tiny ones, we should be as far north as you can possibly go in a vehicle. Still haven't had a full night's sleep in quite a few days now. We stayed in sleeping pods on the ferry, which was a lot cheaper than an actual cabin, but not as comfortable. You can't even lie flat in a sleep. It's just a giant reclining chair, really, with a USB port. Anyway, we got some sleep. We'll press on. Stays like this, we'll sleep well tonight. We've only been on Shetland for what, an hour or so, but it already seems very different to Orkney. It's just much bigger in scope. You were saying it's like Iceland. And when we arrived at Orkney and we had time to kill there, we found we could do all the sites of the island that we were on within about half an hour. Here, this does feel much more epic.
Yeah, if you have them. It's about those odd couple you see by the side of the road.
So we're still driving north. We've driven across the island of Yell. We're now waiting for another ferry, which will be the third of the day. This one will take us from the island of Yell to the island of Unst, and then we'll carry on driving north and see how far we can get. We're living our best life, Katie.
Of course.
No. Boom. Each ferry has been smaller than the last, and this one is so small as to be quite cute. Thank you. Cheers. We are at Maximus Nature Reserve, and I think this is the most northerly point in the UK you can drive to. So I've brought Kermit here and I've parked right at the edge of the car park, so I think that is the most northerly point I can get to in Kermit. Because it's not quite the most northerly point of the UK, that's over there. So while we're here, we might as well go and have a look. Yeah.
Knock, knock.
We've got about 2 miles to go. Manage that, Katie?
Yep.
So even on foot you can't quite walk to the most northerly point of the UK. We're at the end of Ust, but just over there in the distance is a lighthouse, that's Muckle Flugger, and just over there there's a rock, that's Outstack. That rock, that's the most northerly point of the UK. And funnily enough, in a straight line past that, you don't hit any more land until the North Pole. Well, don't hit any land at the North Pole either. Because obviously there is more northerly land, but not in a straight line. Wasn't it nice to finish with some sunshine? Because I'm told Shetland's not always like this. That's it, mission accomplished. We have driven as far north as you can drive in the UK, and even walked a little bit further than that. So on the first day, we went as far north as the Roman Empire ever reached, well, for any substantive period of time, to Hadrian's Wall. The next day, we drove the entire length of Scotland to Dunnet Head, the most northern point of the mainland, and now we're here. And the Land Rover did really well. So did Katie. Right, we're going to head back to the Land Rover. We're going to go and find somewhere to camp, and we're going to catch up on some sleep. See you next time.